in terms of our response. We are going to be focused, and quite literally, this is the lawsuit that I will file within a nanosecond of any efforts to send the military to one of America's great cities, San Francisco, that is enjoying
an icy response to word from the Trump administration. ICE is on the way to the Bay, set to arrive sometime today. This arrival and the potential of what the governor is talking about there, the potential arrival of National Guard troops to police crime in San Francisco, has Governor Newsom with his finger on that button. You see the papers right there in hand. He's ready to file that lawsuit, he says, within a nanosecond. So right off the top this morning, the timing of today's arrival of ICE agents at the Coast Guard base over in Alameda. It is not known at this hour. We wish we could tell you, but we don't know that. We're going to continue pushing for answers. What we do know, it's happening and marking an escalation in the Trump administration's targeted focus on the Bay Area. But before ICE boots hit the ground, protesters hit the pavement at Coast Guard Island. This is last night. Now, despite Governor Gavin Newsom calling for peaceful protests, this is what our cameras saw. Protesters blocking the entrance there at Coast Guard Island. They used rocks and other objects. Guard security had to go in and clear the area. We also saw a lot of unmarked cars with out-of-state license plates drive in. We don't know who they represent or who they are. We're also looking for answers there. But you see the rocks there in the road. Now we fast forward to this morning. The sun is coming up, and we have continuing coverage on your community station about what's going on out there with the arrival of ICE. Veronica Macias has been with her crew member Shannon out there all morning, showing the response there live at Alameda Coast Guard Island. Veronica, we have so many questions. First of all, how many ICE agents are we talking about? Why that Coast Guard station? And what can people expect going into the weekend?
Good morning. What we know, Reed, is that we're expecting about 100 agents to arrive here at Coast Guard Island. And right now, just like last night, they're creating disruption. They're trying to stop traffic from going into the base, and they're achieving that this morning. Let's just go ahead and show you the backup from all sides here. They're trying to prevent these people from getting to work. They're trying to create disruption. But the message is the disruption here is like the disruption that immigrant communities are seeing. We have some people, the spectrum of protesters. Earlier, we had a protester who was trying to interrupt our live shot. But you also have this morning interfaith leaders who are now arriving here and also delivering a message to the community, the immigrant community. I have Allison here joining us this morning. Thank you for your time. Tell us, what is it that you are trying to project here, the message to the community? You're gathered here saying this is a sanctuary city. We don't want ICE agents. Tell me more.
We're here to say that we must protect our community if our community is under attack. 1/3 of Oakland residents are immigrants. They are our neighbors, they are our educators, they are our public officials, and we must stand up in this moment to ensure that everyone is safe.
We know that the president had threatened that this region would be next. We now know that this is far beyond the promise, right? They're arriving today. The department also saying, the administration saying that they were going to be gathering the worst of the worst. A lot of people who are blocking the entrance this morning to the bay saying that hasn't been the case. What has been what we've been seeing? What is the scenario with what you're fearing we could see in the next few days?
What we've seen across the country is that if you are brown or black, you are targeted. People are not caring about, let alone status, because citizens are being picked up, certainly not criminal status. Everyone is a target. This is clearly a racist threat to our community.
And what is the message for those who do have fear of leaving their home, communities who maybe someone in their family is undocumented? Talk to me about the resources that are available to people.
First of all, for those in the community who are able to come out and just bear witness to what's happening and hold vigil, keep your eyes open. We do encourage anyone who sees ICE activity to contact the Rapid Response Hotline in Alameda County. That number is 510-241-4011.
Thank you, Allison. We appreciate your time this morning. So you have a spectrum of protesters out here. For the most part, we have heard from our city leaders, from the governor, protesters, encouraging them to remain peaceful. This morning, we are seeing that here at the entrance of the base, Reed.
All right, so no rocks thrown or blocking the road at all like we saw last night, Veronica?
Well, definitely blocking the road here. They're being successful in creating this traffic jam on all sides of the Embarcadero East roadway here. So you have a lot of backup, but you also have officers on the other side of all of these protesters that probably could come in and remove these people. But it seems like for the most part, I think on both sides, there's an effort to keep things peaceful this morning. You do have a lot of profanity that's been marked around this area. So we're being very careful to keep the camera from showing that. But they're now starting to chant. And for the most part, people here have been peaceful. Earlier, we did see demonstrators with the megaphones, using profanity and trying to interrupt our live shots. And that's because you have a lot of people who are angry here, Reed, this morning, just telling me they don't want to see what's unfolding in other parts of the country unfold here on the streets of San Francisco.
All right, Veronica Macias with a picture of what's happening there in the Bay Area as those protesters block traffic from being able to get into Alameda Coast Guard Station, continuing coverage throughout the morning. Now, we also need to be super clear about something. The arrival of those ICE agents is not to be confused with President Trump's other Bay Area threat, and that is to send in the National Guard to target crime in San Francisco. Two separate things that could end up being the same, but not right now. Still, though, we have seen the president deploy Guard troops in other cities shortly after federal agents stepped up enforcement. Many of those cities are led by Democrats. There's also the community response to this morning's news. We went down into the Mission, which is known for a very proud, large immigrant population. Groups like Bay Resistance, led by community organizer Roberto Hernandez, went into action. He tells us he and his team spent hours in emergency meetings. The topic is this: what to say to their neighbors. Listen.
People are scared. They're fearful. They are calling me up saying, should I go to work? Should I stay home? Should I send these kids to school? People just are in a panic.
Well, if you recognize him, he's often very much a part of our community coverage of Carnival and other events down there in the Mission. Hernandez said he's also worried about employers who have undocumented employees this morning, many of whom he says are essential workers. We're also watching for several responses and rallies from city and community leaders all over the Bay Area. So you're looking live, San Mateo County, San Francisco, Oakland. We understand in those areas, rallies and protests are expected. Overnight, House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, whose very job, by the way, is being challenged by State Senator Scott Wiener, says local authorities may arrest federal agents if they break California law. She added in a statement, quote, if they are convicted, the president cannot pardon them, close quote, Nancy Pelosi. Meanwhile, there's a counterpoint to this. Conservative political commentator Richie Greenberg says he and those who listen to him welcome a federal crackdown on crime in San Francisco.
Bring in all those different agencies to do what they do best, because clearly San Francisco's leadership in City Hall is incapable of doing what they really need to do to serve our interests.
Keep following President Trump's major federal operation in the Bay Area throughout the morning as we look live right now at the protests that are starting to amass there at the Coast Guard station in Alameda. Once again, protesters moving. And according to Veronica Macias, they are blocking traffic there. We're going to continue watching that situation. We'll bring you updates anytime at kpix.com and streaming on the free CBS News app.